It was supposed to be the big finale, the movie that wrapped up one of Cartoon Network's most beloved shows. But after 5 years of delays and complete silence from the creators, the Gumball movie has officially fallen into development hell. But what happened, and why hasn't there been any new official Gumball content for the past 6 years? To understand how we got in this horrible situation, we need to go all the way back to the beginning. The idea of the Gumball movie popped up back in October 2015, when creator Ben Bollett mentioned in an interview that he'd love to turn the series into a full feature-length film. At the time, it seemed pretty promising that we would actually get the Gumball movie that we'd all been hoping for, since the show was getting more viewers per episode than ever before. But they couldn't have been more wrong. Nearly a year later, Ben Bollett mentioned that he'd be leaving the show after season 6 and admitted that he wasn't sure a movie would happen. However, the idea of ending the series after just 6 seasons, especially with what became a cliffhanger, didn't feel like the right way to say goodbye to Gumball. That might be why, 2 months later, after his announcement of departure from the show, Ben Bollett said this on Twitter: "I might have a good idea for the Gumball movie. Would you guys watch a Gumball movie? Yes, without hesitation. Yes, 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 only if it's not the end of Gumball." But as we were about to see, there seemed to be different plans for the show. As we all know, The Amazing World of Gumball quickly became a fan favorite for its unique blend of humor, creativity, and unforgettable characters. So when season 6 ended on a cliffhanger, it's easy to see why people were pretty bummed out. But honestly, if the season finale had been followed by a movie, it would have been a pretty awesome way to wrap up everything. But there were a lot more complications that were about to come for the Gumball movie. Season 6 of Gumball is confirmed to be the final season. The show will end with 240 episodes. A movie script is being written, but we don't know if a movie will actually be made just yet. And this confirmation seemed to upset a lot of fans. But why? No way. Cartoon Network is dead without Gumball. On one hand, we were finally getting the Gumball movie that everyone had been waiting for. However, it also meant accepting that the series that had meant so much to people was finally coming to an end. I mean, if the creator were stepping away, would his original vision still be followed? Or would they take things in a completely different direction and risk ruining the entire series? But after this huge announcement, months went by, then a whole year, with less and less news coming out as time passed. There was still no sign of a release date. Although, in the meantime, we did get things like the Gumball Chronicles, which was an 8-episode miniseries that aired from October 2020 to March 2021 on Cartoon Network. It served as a spin-off to The Amazing World of Gumball, mostly using clips from the original show, with new animation and dialogue to tie each episode together around a specific theme. A notable 4-part arc, Vote Gumball, was released during the 2020 US election, showing Gumball running for school president. And Darwin's Yearbook is a 6-episode miniseries that aired in December 2019. It follows Darwin as he tries to complete the Elmore Jr. High Yearbook by figuring out who deserves the title of Best Person Ever. It uses clips from past Gumball episodes alongside new framing for scenes. Well, mostly a clip show. It gave fun character insights and a nostalgic look back at the series. But they didn't really answer any of the questions viewers had. But not all hope was lost, because finally, on September 21st, 2021, HBO Max and Cartoon Network gave the green light to a new series called The Amazing World of Gumball, the series, and the Gumball movie. This news was a huge surprise for fans who had been waiting for months, and the community was finally happy to see the show get more content. However, in August of 2022, when Warner Brothers and Discovery were merging, a bunch of fan-favorite shows and movies got cut from HBO Max. Sadly, the Gumball movie and Season 7 were included in this. It stopped getting funding and was basically put on hold. It wasn't totally cancelled, but yeah, it was a pretty big blow. Less than a year after the exciting news that the Gumball movie was finally in the works, everything that could go wrong went wrong. And at this point, who really knew when we were gonna get any good news about the Gumball movie? But thanks to the determination and support of fans, the project was still in the works. Production kept quietly going on in the background, with new cast members joining and the occasional rumor popping up about the movie still being worked on, plus some extra info about Season 7 starting to surface too. Nearly 2 years went by, with only a few sources saying that it was coming. This was until the Unsea Festival, where one brave soul asked Booklet himself in a Q&A about the movie. And this fan asking a question confirmed that the movie was still in the works, but a lot has changed since the original announcement. Guys, guess who asked the first dumb question? Me. And I asked about the movie, but Booklet said it's not cancelled. He's working on it, but with everything that happened, the movie changed and could be made, but differently. Now, we're here in 2025, so what do we have now about the long-awaited Gumball movie? Well, the movie is still in production, and other than this, we don't really know much about what the movie will look like. So for this, we'll have to use all the evidence we know from the past and to come up with a theory on what we can expect the Gumball movie to look like. First, we know Baekhyun initially had to plan drafts for the show, one for a big screen release, the other for your average home viewing. With the way season 6 wrapped up, it's more likely that the movie is really going to be made with the big screen in mind. The finale definitely gave off the feeling that the movie was going to be on a bigger scale, so it makes sense that they'd go all out. I'm guessing we'll see a mix of animation styles, keeping the classic Gumball vibe, but with a higher budget to make it look even better. And since it's going into theaters, we could possibly get some intense action scenes. Supposedly, the movie's plot at one point centered around Gumball's biggest fan, who accidentally uncovers the show's missing episode and opens a portal into the world, kind of like a Spider-Verse crossover. It's not too far-fetched considering all the multiverse content we've seen in recent years. After ending up in Gumball's world, this fan would meet Gumball, Darwin, Animus, Richard, and Nicole. The group then teams up to stop the mysterious evil force threatening to take over Elmore. But things don't go exactly as planned, and the fans' excitement unintentionally unleashes a new foe for them to face. But another way the Gumball movie could pan out is starting right where season 6 left off. Specifically in the finale of the season, the Inquisition. In this episode, Rob, disguised as Superintendent Evil, tries to warn the students about an impending disaster. He urges them to transform to survive, turning into human versions of themselves. At the end of the episode, they turn everyone back to normal and stop Rob and his plan. But at the end of the episode, we get the ending all Gumball fans are too familiar with Rob falling into the void saying, "It started." This clearly feels like a setup for something much bigger. A more serious story worthy of a movie, and it actually lines up with the earlier draft of Gumball's biggest fan stepping into the world of Gumball. Something that very well could have been caused by the void. This makes total sense. After years of fans eagerly waiting for the conclusion of season 6, it'd be a smart move for Bokeh to pick off where the cliffhanger left off and build on it for the movie, giving us the big payoff we've been waiting for. The last thing that helps this theory is how season 7 is expected to look like. In the same panel where the Gumball movie was confirmed to still be in the works, we got an idea of how the first episode of season 7 will look like. The first episode of season 7 will be titled The Burger, and it will focus on Gumball and Darwin trying to eat healthy, only to realize how challenging it is to do so because of Mr. Bilderberger, who controls all of the food stores in town. Okay? Friends, episode 1 is about Gumball and Darwin, mostly Darwin, trying to eat healthy. And judging by the other episode titles in the season, it doesn't seem like we'll get a full episode dedicated to the void or what really happened to Rob. It doesn't seem like it will be in season 7 at least, which probably means we'll finally get these answers when the movie's released, likely around 2026 or 2027. Until then, all we can do is piece together the clues, follow the updates, and hope that the long wait is worth it. Because if everything we've seen so far is any hint, the Gumball movie might just be one of the most surprising comebacks in animation. But hey, that's just a theory, a Gumball universe theory. Thanks for watching, and if you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe.